Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it takes me out of the present. New moon waxing, full moon waning, crescent. Life cycles, teammates or rivals. Soul search, dangerous World War III, the goal's always survival. That's nature, day you're born when you meet your maker. Tears start chasing paper, burning trees or melting glaciers. But truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it's impossible to process, so I stay focused on my progress.
Welcome to episode 5, already 5 of TripleCapz. It's been 2 weeks of pain, boring international football, but the Prem is back, thankfully. I'm one of your hosts, Guffs, Chief Force, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Ark, FPL Ark, and FPL Hots, as he calls himself now. Boys, welcome. How we doing?
Still in the doldrums, my friend. Still in the doldrums. Life's not good at the bottom.
If you calm down now, how you feeling? You feeling a bit?
No, I'm not calm.
No, you're not calm now, no?
No,
you still
I'm always angry.
You're still upset. All right.
Just contain it.
Big man, Hots, looking stiff. Wagwan.
I'm just come from a funeral today. R.I.P. Joe, aka Bobby Six. Bit waved, can't lie. But yeah, always gonna deliver, be here when I need to be. So yeah, but not a bit of a sad day, but we move forward, keep going.
Yeah. Well, sorry to hear that first and foremost. Never good to hear someone passing away. But hopefully we get some laughs and jokes on the show today to cheer you up, man. So, we can certainly laugh at your team, so we can start there, I guess. But
I thought you started off just by your headphones.
Do you know?
You don't know this, no?
They're a serious piece.
Well, I need to bring some colour to this podcast, isn't it? Truth be told, for the viewers out there, my actual headphones that I wear, you might have noticed from previous shows that I wear kind of in-ear headphones, which are currently broken. So I've got my daughter's headphones on. Don't judge me. But yeah,
They're your daughters or just your usuals? That's what you wear on a Thursday.
Yeah. All right. Hold it down. Chill. So yeah, it's been a long 2 weeks, guys. Any sort of thoughts in terms of sort of how you're feeling going into this game week? You feel different? You kind of, after you sort of had a few days to sort of let it sink in, where you at? Talk to me.
I take it that's to me then.
Well, yeah.
Hots always goes quiet when you ask a question, and then there's this long space.
Well, to be fair, you're playing catch up in it. So, like, what's your plan? Where you at?
Yeah, like I'm playing catch up for that whole 2 points that is between me and you. But yes, I don't know. You know what? From my point of view, I reflected on it, and I'm trying to keep the faith, trying to make patience and logic overthrow what my head and my heart wants to do right now. So usually when you go chasing for things, those things start running. So I will stay true to my ultra ego, and I will continue just trying to plug away and see where we get to. I feel in the grand scheme of things, I'm only really about 50 points away from whoever is at the top at the moment. So from that perspective, when you take the context of they've used up 2 chips, etc., that kind of thing, it should, in theory, be made up. But I suppose we'll get into our chip strategy at some point.
Yeah, indeed. Hots, where you at? What are you thinking?
As you know, I used my wildcard in the last game week. Didn't really pay off, but I got players in that I'm happy with going forward. But there's still players that, since the transfer window's closed, has made me think. But I knew when I did the wild card that I was going to potentially do heavy minus then. So if I was to do minuses this week, it would be low minuses. So it's still, I still don't regret the wild card, but there's a few players that I want to get in.
You don't regret it?
No, but I just explained what I think about it, so that should be self-explanatory to you. I don't regret it. It wasn't an accident like your bench boost. I tried to do something. I got players in for the long term, and I'm happy with them for this week. But because of the transfer window, there's a few players that I'm curious about and considering bringing in.
Yes, this is a funny one. I've got to be honest. Like, I think I've kind of gone back and forth on playing Wildcard. I mean, we'll go into more detail later on the show, but I mean, I said.
Why are you going back and forth on it? The teams above you, have they all used theirs, or is that what's making you concerned about whether you should use it or not?
No, I think piggybacking what I said last show, I'm concerned about if I'm on the right team structure. That's my concern. I think that.
But then wouldn't the wild card help you with that?
It would help me massively, which is why I'm thinking about it. But the reason why I'm going back and forth is because I had this whole idea of when to play the wild card, and this wasn't the week to play it in. And I'm weighing up whether or not it makes more sense to play it now or wait until, later on when I want to play it.
What's your team name, by the way?
So for those who don't understand the context of my team name, all I would say is that if you know, then you know.
But you understand why I've asked what your team name is.
I know,
right?
I know. And I've asked it in a way
So in short, things change, right?
Yeah, please. Help
you
them.
may have had plans. But
to your point, Ark, like, I'm not a million miles off. I think if I was way off, then I think I'll think differently right now. But it's not panic for me right now.
So just going back to your team name to give context.
Know what your team name is.
Well, so my team, you can see my team is MTBTTF, which basically stands for Mike Tyson Blow to the Face, which is a song by a group called Clips, who most of you hopefully will know about. And without going into much detail about what the song's about, it's
say it with Chester, man. Like Ermin and Arin. Like it's the Clips, isn't it?
It's the Clips, yeah. Well,
album of the year.
We know the Clips, but I don't want to presume that people out there know Wagwan. I mean, so like, if you don't know, download it, get to know, and understand what it's about. But that's where the name comes from. And if you've heard the song, then you know why the team name. I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And if you understand the reference of Mike Tyson and a blow to the face, then you'll also know that plans change. Everybody's got a plan till they get a punch in the face, right?
Yeah. I hear that 100%. I think that, like I said...
And to be fair, you've been punched in the face a couple of times already, right?
Not really. A few
jabs. You only jabbed last week.
No, man. I've got some jabs and just...
No, not some, one.
Just...
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Man was saying that. You know what I mean? I'm still here standing, so it's all good. You know what I mean?
You know what? You're a bit mental, I've seen you singing here. Now I'm seeing you doing some kind of Twinkle Toes business. Like, yeah, you're a serious guy.
Yeah, but look, I think, do you know what? In all honesty, I could change my mind come the very, very, very end. But as I'm feeling right now, I think I'm going to hold the wild card until later on. But it is dicey right now. I can't lie.
So you've done a -8 last week, right? And
I did.
You're pretty proud about it. So if you don't do a wild card this week, potentially, are you going to do minuses then to get some players in that you want? Is that what you're going to do if you don't minus, or if you don't wild card? Sorry.
The big thing for me is prices are going up and down right now. Like my team value is really taking a hit. And
All right, Captain Obvious.
the biggest issue I have right now is I don't want to lose more value in my team, but also I'm acutely aware that this is the sort of period when there's a lot of volatility in the team prices. And last year I made changes early, and then my team price rise because I got onto the right strategy. So I'm thinking about like using my wild cards, get the right players in, and hopefully I'll see the value of that price rise as the kind of weeks pass on. But
Why is the value of the team important?
the value is in a team when you're playing free hits, when you're doing future transfers and future wild cards in the second half of the season, then you get more options, right? So it is important.
I always care about
But-
team value. One of the things I would say with me doing the early wildcard, so my team value is decent right now. I always have a good team value, as you man are aware. Something that I like to have. Sometimes I'll even do changes on because I don't want to lose certain money. But yeah, it's not everything, but it is important.
I don't think it's super important this season though, and I say that because I don't think the big assets are as important as they have been in previous years, and I think we'll come on to that later on. But I think last season you kind of needed to have all the big boys in your team: the Sakas, the Palmers, the Haalands, the Salahs. I think this year, I think the mid-range assets are doing really, really well, and also kind of, almost kind of hitting the same points, and in some cases even more than the big hitters. So I think you can kind of get away with it.
Will they continue?
A low team
That's the
value.
question, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good point, but we'll see. So obviously the big talking point this week was managerial change, right? So last week we spoke about Nunes and how long he would last. He's out. Ange Ball's back. First and foremost, how are you feeling about Nunes being sacked? Are you surprised? I guess the answer is pretty no to that, but I'm curious to see, get your opinions on that. And also,
Well, why would the answer be no to that? Because I remember somebody bragging about, I see a manager that is, he's got credit in the bank and he's doing this and he's doing that. I remember someone saying that.
yeah.
I don't remember you thinking that it was inevitable that Nuno was going to go. I think you thought he was getting his big balls out and showing this Greek guy that he means business.
And he backfired, innit? By lots of things. Do you mean?
Well, I told you that at the time, but you was insistent.
What do you want? What do you want? A badge?
Nope.
Yeah.
I've got many of them.
You was right, my friend.
I know.
If you can apply it to FPL, then even better. But look, Nunes gone.
What I would say is that it made sense that he wasn't gonna quit. That's what I was saying about it. He was never gonna quit because he didn't want to lose out on those bonuses. Yeah, like I said in the last episode. But after getting beat 3-0 by West Ham, it sort of was looming that it could go. But obviously, I think that they were just trying to line up his replacement because it was quick. It's like, you're out, you're in. It was nothing long in it. But yeah,
I guess
it's going to have an impact.
The way I think about it for me is the fact they've gone with Ange, right? It just seems like a really strange appointment, given that the team is set up to play a certain way, and his philosophy that I've seen so far is a complete polar opposite. So, we're now going to be asking players like Chris Wood to be doing things that he's not really capable of. I mean, I just find it bizarre that it gone the way of Ange Postecoglou. I don't know if it's something that was reactionary. It's something happened in the last few days, and he thought, "Sure, he's got to go now," and just
what is Chris Wood not going to be capable of?
Well, I think when you think about the way that Ange Postecoglou set up Spurs, with this kind of like playing out from the back and then trying to kind of create overloads, and Nottingham Forest the last sort of 12 months have been set up to play counter-attack, good on set pieces, get the ball out to the wide guys, get it into the box. It's kind of fundamental football where Ange Postecoglou doesn't really play that way. So I'm just a bit curious to sort of see how it's all going to play out, really.
Yeah, but what was his striker doing that makes you think that Chris Woods wouldn't be able to do that?
Well, I think Chris Wood is a very good striker, but I think Postecoglou likes sort of interchanging the positions, right? He likes people to be quite fluid in the offensive shape. And Chris Wood, as good as he is, I think he's quite a rigid striker. So I'm just, yeah, I don't know.
So who was Middlesex's striker when Ange was there?
Solanke.
And so he
And before
played
that?
quite central, right?
He plays central, but Solanke is more athletic than Wood, right? He can kind of get around the pitch. I don't really see Wood being the same sort of type. Look, we've got to see if Ange is capable of adapting his tactics.
Yeah, but I suppose we should kind of be agreed on what his tactics are, right? Because Solanke was never really all over the pitch. He stayed central. Like Woodward.
I wouldn't say that Wood and Solanke are
Yeah, I didn't get your comment there either.
I think they're very
I'm
different.
not saying they're the same player, but they both played central, right? I can't see Wood strain anywhere, but Solanke doesn't stray anywhere.
Yeah, but Solanke had the pace and the ability to kind of get in behind defences, right? Using his pace, his power. Wood's not that kind of player at all. Wood's a kind of a guy who wants to hold the ball up.
Wood's probably better than him. Solanke scored less than Havertz.
You think
And Havertz was out for half the season.
this isn't really a case of who's better, who's worse. They're very different strikers. I'm just, you know.
I don't think they're that different. That's my point.
Think so? I think they're very different.
But well, why do you think
don't know
that?
where-
You made a statement saying that Wood isn't going to be able to play the way that Ange wants to play. But how does Ange want to play? Because the strikers that he's had before, they haven't played that differently to what Wood is doing now.
Well, Ange wants to play possession football. Forest don't play that way, right? Forest are a direct team. The similarities, I guess, one similarity they have is that they do both play a different brand of transitional football, right? So Forest do like fast turnovers in the middle of the park, and they got like Anderson and Gibbs White who can kind of get interceptions, and they kind of can build from the last third of the pitch and can create chances that way. But if you look at how Spurs played last season under Ange, he wanted to kind of create traps, right? So he was using his fullbacks to kind of like draw in the offensive team and then play around them and then kind of break in that way. Forest don't really have those kind of players. They don't really have those architects who can kind of, you know, play under pressure and invite players onto them to then break out and create breaks. So it'd be interesting to sort of see what the Forest philosophy is going forward, whether or not he sort of sticks with Nuno's tactics for now and sort of eases his own philosophy into the team, or whether he kind of instills his way from the first game. I think Mourinho would have probably been an easier manager to bring on, because I think it's more in line with what Nuno's done at Forest. But I'm surprised. Look, we'll see how it all works out. All I'm saying is that I think it's a very different style of football that Forest are now going to have to play.
I guess. What do you think, Hots?
I didn't get the comment either. I think Wood's a good striker. I think Podges is used to someone who is up top, so I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. Just whether he can get Nottingham Forest to play is the question. Is he going to have that? He's starting against Arsenal and he was Spurs, so is he going to want to start off with a bang? We'll see. I've got 2 Forest players currently. I'm not sure what I want to do with them. Like, I've got Chris Wood. He's got obviously a tough game against Arsenal, and then he's got a few good games coming up. And I've got Nico Williams. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think you're the person to really ask the question, Hots, because obviously defensively Forest haven't been great this season, and
No, they haven't.
I don't see that improving under Postecoglou. So does that make you more inclined to kind of like maybe dial down your Forest assets and pivot?
Well, Nico Williams was my third sub, and Wood was brought in to be my captain against West Ham and flopped me. And I don't tolerate certain things. So from the time I brought Wood in as part of the Wildcard to be captain against West Ham, and that's what he did to me, his position in my team was on the line before this even happened. So I'd be more inclined to get rid of Wood over Nico Williams right now. But that said, Nottingham Forest have good games coming up. So there's so many positions that I would like to make some changes on that I've got to weigh up. Do I want to do minuses this week? Or do I see how the new signings unfold? So, yeah, it's a bit of patience. And the international games are now finished. I don't know if there's any tomorrow. So just seeing who comes through, those injured, not injured, etc. But I would expect, if I'm being honest, Arsenal to beat Forest. That's the honest truth.
I mean, you mentioned there the international break, which is going to come on to actually. Some wild comments from Tuchel and some interesting ones too. One of the big talking points that were coming out of this break was this idea that the importance now of throw-ins and set pieces in football these days. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about Arsenal's tactics. I don't want to go too much into Arsenal, but
Well, Tuchel does. He says it's Arsenal's fault.
Well, I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because I mean, do you see it that way? I mean, for me, set pieces have always been important in football. I don't know if it's a new thing, but do you see there being some sort of shift? Do you think it's more important in recent years, or do you think you should chatting rubbish?
No, I just think that, as you've said, it's always been important, but the issue that you've got is in order to squeeze that extra 5-10% out of a team, different teams have now started to employ people that will focus on those particular areas. And because of that, we've seen different outcomes. And once that happens, everybody starts wanting to jump on the bandwagon. Funnily enough, the comments that he made, why they're interesting to me, is that this is the one season where you've seen that Arsenal have brought in players to play in a different way. So you would expect now with the players that they've brought in for them to play a bit more vertical. So they've brought in more ball carriers. They've brought in people that are a bit more pacey. They've got shot capacity and so on. So that would take away from just the idea of set piece FC. But it will be what it will be, I guess. I think he was more aligning it to what was going on with England and saying that they'll be looking to get more crosses into the box and so on. But yeah, obviously Arteta will always get blamed where he can be blamed, and this is the latest arc for it to go down.
If you look at the way that every team has set piece coaches and how many corners teams get, people are gonna be looking at the potential of what you're gonna do with these set pieces. So it's all well and good to say, yeah, cross it in, get it on someone's head and just head it in. But the set piece coaches are actually thinking of tactical solutions and the best ways of trying to get goals. So I think it's just a natural bit of progression. But I think, as Ark said, when it's Arsenal, it gets highlighted more than it does in general. These ideas have been going on for many seasons before this season, that's for sure. As it says here, the Stoke effect. And I remember Delap's long throws. So it's not new to the game. It's just this season people have been doing it. Look at when people are kicking off now, instead of playing back, they're kicking it to the corner flag next to the opposition's goal, so that they have to take it and start from the back, from their almost off their goal line. So it's just new tactics being deployed. You just have to adapt.
I don't see the problem really. I think, you want to try and find the edge wherever you can. I think the problem from an Arsenal perspective is that when that becomes your only source of goals, or you become over reliant on it, then that's the issue more than anything. It's not so much that, end of the day, if you've got an advantage on set pieces because you've got tall guys in your team, then use it, right? Like, of course. But I don't think like people could. Well, as an Arsenal fan, I don't complain about our ability to score from set pieces. I complain about our inability to score regularly from open play. So it's part of football. It's always been here. It's always going to be here. And quite frankly, I don't understand why other teams don't focus more on it. It just seems like such an obvious thing to work on and to try to improve.
They do focus on it. They're just not good at it. And it's always been the case, right? There's always been a set of teams that will be better at set pieces, corners, etc., than others. Arsenal have been better, and they've become quite innovative with what they are doing. But the reality is, it's just like when you used to play Street Fighter 2, right? And you get that one person that's always doing the same move on you and wins. The person's not going to stop doing it. They're going to keep doing it until you can counteract it. And that's the funny thing with this game. People complain or say that, for instance, an Arsenal or an Everton or some of the other teams that are in your graphic. The reality is that you've got to find a way to counteract what they're doing. You can't complain that a guy is scoring 2 goals against you and you're upset. You have to find a way to. You've got to find a way to get around it.
Yeah.
But it's just something that they put into the armory. But remember, I did say that at the start of the season, I think I was joking in one of the groups we're in, where I said it might be that Arsenal are the ones that win England the World Cup next year. It's going to be pure Arsenal man in the team. And who knows? It might be set piece then.
So, boys, the big question really is how are we feeling about this game week? I mean, do you think your team is in the right shape for Game Week 4? Are you happy with where your team is? From my perspective, I'm okay about my team, but there's definitely 3 or 4 players I would love to have in my team. Definitely Haaland is one of those players I wish I had in my team. And, DEFCON, there's some defenders in there which are doing really well, which I haven't got in my team. So I'm slightly concerned, not necessarily about this particular game week, because I think I'm okay. I've got Liverpool assets. But, yeah, I mean, what do you think? How are you feeling about your teams? Are you feeling good?
Well, for me, as you know, done my wildcard. So I've got assets in that I wanted long term. So I don't have regrets in regards to that.
You're still feeling good about that, yeah?
So what was your question? Am I feeling good, or what's my views for this week?
You're still feeling good about well, I'm curious to see if you're still feeling good about your team.
Well, yeah, because
you're 39 points. If you're still happy about your
39 points is irrelevant to what happens this game week, because I'm still above you, right? So when we go into this game week, what we'll focus. Can I finish speaking?
We'll see if it's irrelevant, my friend. We'll see.
It is currently right now because I'm above you, right? So the point is, I did a wild card and I've got players in for the game week ahead, and I think that I've got a lot of the right players. The transfer window closed.
You think so, do you?
Fucking hell, can I speak or what, bro? You asked me a question. I'm just trying to answer the question. Yeah, literally, I've got the players that I would have liked to have in, because that's what you do when you do a wild card. You think long term. It's not free hit, but because of the transfer window closing, I still feel like there's a few additions that I could do, some swaps, and a few things that we've discussed that has changed, i.e. Forest's manager changing, Wissa going to Newcastle, just loads of little things.
Just to be clear, so you're happy with your team and the wild card that you've done?
Overall, yes.
but you might do minuses.
Who said minuses?
Scene.
Who? No, not seen. Who said minuses?
Well, you're saying you're making the 2 or 3. You said you might do 2 or 3 changes, right?
Is that what I said, or did I say
that
that
means
there's 2 or
minuses,
3
'cause
players
you-
that are interesting
well.
since the transfer window? What did I say?
So 2 or 3 players mean minuses, right?
If I said I was gonna
You
check,
only got one. You only
listen,
got
this guy's-
one free change.
maybe your funny headphones are just playing up for you. But what I've said is that there's players that are in the transfer window
It's the
since it's
unicorns.
closed that are interesting. That doesn't mean I'm doing minuses. Like I said, I'm happy with my team.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do any minuses this week. But there's always potential with me. I'll do whatever I feel like doing when I feel like it. But that's not on the cards right now. But there's players I'm looking at and thinking, could they improve my team? And if they can, then I will do so.
See, so you're on that wrong and strong one, yeah? Okay. Ah,
What's wrong and strong? Man chat so much shit. I don't even understand what he's saying, wrong and strong. Man had a couple points more than me and is just talking like he's done something so great. It doesn't really make sense.
no, I'm
But
just.
I
I'm just
suppose
curious.
that's part of the course, right? If you win for a week, you win for a week, right?
No, not at all. It's not about winning for a week. It's just I'm just curious to know. What one is it? Are you happy with your team, or do you want players?
So let me ask you a
among your
question,
team?
yeah? And I'll ask someone a sense.
Pick-
Let me
pick
ask
one-
Ark.
Pick one side in it. That's what I'm saying.
No. Let me ask someone a sense. So if you've got a team that you like, Ark, does that mean that you can't see other players that you could see could be good potentials for this game week? That it's just normal.
I understand where you're coming from. Yeah,
It just don't make sense what you're saying.
but because you are known for, because you are known for what you are known for. I suppose that's why the assumption was that means you're gonna get those players in. But
like right
it is
now,
what it is.
if you look at what I've brought in, if that wild card, it makes sense those players going forward. Do you know, like I brought in Muniz, Crystal Palace. Why would I take him out of my team this game week? Guffs, you can answer that. Otherwise, let's just move on because I think it's obvious the players that I brought in what they had to do.
Well, why play the wild card? Quite frankly,
Because I wanted to change up that team.
if you're happy with your team,
for now.
well, if you're happy, okay, we will see come in the game
you,
before if
you're
it
just
works
a
out.
wind-up
or not.
merchant.
You hope it.
I don't even think
you hope
it's
it works
wind-up, I
out.
just think
We'll
it's
see if it
like, no.
does. I mean,
Oh my lord!
really?
Fair play.
Yeah, because it's like it's
from-
like you're
from-
trying to force.
You feeling it right, mate?
I actually,
you had
100%. I
your-
feel like you're trying to force. You're trying to force it
As someone had their shredded wheat today, saying, what's going on?
again. Trying to force
Force what?
banner. I
What
don't
am I
know
forcing?
everything right now. I just don't
I'm
get it.
forcing nothing. I'm just asking questions.
I've answered it. I said that I'm happy with my wild card.
I'm asking a question.
I'm happy with my wild card,
Usually-
but there's
I mean,
players
usually
in this
people-
window since the window closed that I'm interested
people that play the wild card, like for me, I don't know like you, but when I play
Why
my
are
wild
you
card,
using that voice?
I'm gonna bring players into my team who I want in my team. I
Exactly.
don't play the wild card game.
That's
week.
why I'm happy with my team. Then you dickhead.
Next game week.
You're answering my thing for me, innit? That's why I'm happy with my team, then, innit?
But you started off.
I started off with I'm happy with my team,
you started
but
by
there's
saying,
players
great.
that in the transfer window that have moved that are interesting. So I don't know what you can't comprehend, but it's that simple.
With regards to my team, there's not a lot of movement for me for this week. There's one potential transfer when I look at things, but I think I will hold steady. I think in the long term, I don't want any Man United assets. I think that is what I keep on toying with at the moment. And I've still got my eye of concern over Spence in terms of long-term wise, if he stays in the team or not. Relatively, with the other assets that I've got, I'm okay with, although you'll probably have seen some of the posts that I've made. Some of the Arsenal assets that I've got in the team for me, I've gone against what I normally do, where I'm actually more hoping than I am logically dissecting and saying, well, I'm confident that X is going to happen. I think I am with Madueke. I'm not sure what I get with Gyökeres, because it's really dependent on what a lot of the rest of the team does, in terms of making sure that they're finding him and then letting him do what he needs to do from there. The other concern I've got is that my bench isn't strong whatsoever, other than Diouf. But Arias hasn't worked out. Konsa, he's, as part of Villa, he's not been working out for me either. So from that perspective, I will probably be in a situation where by the end of this game week, I'll either feel that I can keep rolling with a transfer, or I will be doing a Hots and wanting to get a ladder.
Yeah, it's
my team just feels average to me at the moment, which isn't a good space to be in. And the reality is,
because it is average.
The reality is, if I break down what points tally I'm on at the moment, it's only average around about 50 a week, which is not good enough. It needs to be at least 10 to 15 more than that.
I mean, to be honest here, I mean, I think that if you look at sort of a lot of the guys who have typically done well in FPL, you know, I'm talking about content creators, they're all doing pretty badly, right? You know, they always say that, you know, with FPL, the most important thing is not to lose it in the early part and to stay in the mix. I think that it's always a weird 2 or 3 games where the smaller teams have that sort of new team bounce, and there's always weird things going on. I think the important thing, and for me, looking at my team, is trying to sort of first and foremost look at who's going to play. You know, I'm not particularly happy with my team setup. I think I said this last week. I'm really concerned about Salah. He's the one I'm looking at, and I'm going to keep him for this game week because they're playing against Burnley, and it would be wise to keep him against Burnley. But he's someone that I'm potentially going to sacrifice going forward, because at that price point of 14.5 million, I'm expecting big returns. And yes, anyone can go through 1 or 2. I mean, he has got a goal and assist, so I don't want to say like he hasn't got nothing. But a bit like last year with Haaland, you know, looking at the sort of the numbers behind it, for his price point to make sense in my team, you've got to be scoring much more points than you are right now. And I think he's ranked 46 out of all the players in the game. That's not good enough for someone worth 14.5 million. So, but for this game specifically, I'm probably going to probably make one change. I've got 2 defenders in De Kuyper and Konza, which I'm not happy with in my team. And one has to go for sure. And I think DEFCON has become a really important weapon this season. I really underestimated how important it was. So I'm looking at one of the sort of the DEFCON Dons to come into my team for this game week. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Offensively, I think I'm okay. I've got João Pedro, who's been doing well. Watkins has been doing poorly, but he's got good games, so I'm going to roll with him for now. But Wildcard could be on horizon for next game week if some of these players like Watkins and Rodgers and Salah don't perform this game week. So this to me is really kind of like a sliding doors moment for my team. But I'm going to hold firm, a bit like you, Ark, and sort of see how it all pans out. But I can't really afford to have another dead game week. I need to sort of get clicking now.
So what are you feeling about Verts? Because you have him as well, right?
Yeah, again, Verts falls in that category like I've had with Watkins, right? Where it's more of a hope than an actual analytical approach to why I'm keeping my team, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Verts is a fantastic player. You know, I've seen a lot of him in his time at Germany and playing for Germany as well. He's going to come good. I think it's really a case, it's not so much about him, but it's all to do with how Liverpool are going to set up. It's a different system they're playing right now. And I think he's finding difficulties in finding his place within the team. I think Ekitike and Gakpo are dropping into sort of his spots on the pitch, and I think he's finding it hard to sort of get into good areas. So he'll work it out because he's an intelligent player with high IQ. And this game against Burnley, I need to sort of see some kind of attacking return now. So again, we'll see.
So you mentioned some stuff about Salah just a second ago, but taking into account both those assets that you've got for Liverpool, what do you think the Isak effect will be?
I don't think it's going to impact Wirtz, because I think Wirtz is going to play regardless.
Right.
But with Isak and the Ekitike Gakpo triangle, because I call it a triangle because I think those are the three players that are essentially going to be affected by his introduction. Because I think Isak can potentially play off the left or through the middle. And which is another reason why I'm not playing my wildcard, because my wildcard that I had planned out had Ekitike in my wildcard team. But then I thought about it and I thought, well, actually, by game week 5 or 6, he could be on the bench. So I just thought, let me just sort of see how this sort of period goes until the next break and see what Liverpool kind of look like and then make a change from there.
You just hurt my head. I forgot about that. After game week 7, it's another international break, right?
Yeah, so I think it's a bit too early to do it right now for me. But again, I can move if it really, really depends on how badly I do this game week. If I have a bad game week, then I might pull the trigger and just go for it. But we'll see.
No, I think I've got similar concerns with you. Read the Liverpool assets. I've only got one. I've got Gakpo, and he's doing well for me. But like I can see his minutes becoming strained. But do any of you expect to see Isak start or make a 40-minute appearance at the weekend?
No.
Oh, you think they're gonna take their time and blood him in the hots? Okay.
He came off the bench for Sweden.
I don't.
Yeah, he came off the bench for Sweden, and I think that's how it will be for Liverpool. They're playing Burnley. There's no urgency to, force him in from the start. Ekitike's been doing his thing. The team, they've not lost the game. Just take him off bench and let him get his first minutes of the season in the Prem.
Just wondering whether they see it as an opportunity, because it is Burnley, that not to start him, but to give him some sensible minutes and try and get him a goal. But we'll see, I guess. But yeah, it's a conundrum working out how they're going to play with that.
Do you guys think he'll start?
No, I don't think he will start. No, I'd be very shocked. Last time out when we spoke, I talked about the fact that Bruno is still a concern for me, even though he has hauled and so on. And in reality, if I start looking back at underlying data and so on, in theory, he's doing all right. Like, there's no real drop-off with him from what he historically does, even though he's playing deeper. But the eye test is the thing that is making me feel like I might need to pivot from him. And there are some options, but it's whether I do that this week or not.
Bruno's an interesting one because he's one of those players in the midfield who actually benefiting from the DEFCON points, right? And the drop-off in terms of his attacking potency is somewhat kind of supplemented by his ability now to get those DEFCON points. So, and the one thing about Bruno that I think is being overlooked against other players is that Man U have no European football. So we're coming into a period now where European football begins, and we're going to start seeing some of the bigger teams playing 2 games a week, and they've got big squads. So this rotation issues become a problem, right? With some of our big assets. Well, Bruno is going to play every game week because Man United have no Europe. So I think
and they don't have no Energy Cup games either.
Well, exactly. So he becomes an interesting asset now. If Man United pick up as well, I think you're probably going to find a lot of players bringing Bruno into their team, especially during a period in which Palmer's still carrying a knock, Saka's out. He's hovering around that sort of like below that price point of 10 million. I think he's a very good asset, to be honest with you. The biggest question mark is Man United as a team. Can they pick up?
Well, I mean, we say can they pick up? They've got enough points so far this year. Like, yes, they lost when they played Arsenal, but in reality, they haven't done too badly in the league. Like, they've done better than other teams who are under no pressure whatsoever.
I'll tell you what,
But
they're doing better than their counterparts in Manchester. So, like,
yeah, that's true.
and it's going to be interesting this weekend. We might as well look at that because they're playing each other.
Yeah, man. Let's get. I mean, you raise a good point. I mean, obviously it's a Sunday game.
Sunday.
My first question is
My first one is, why is Common standing next to Haaland?
my question is, on a serious note, who do you think is going to win?
United.
I think it's going to be. Is it at Etihad? See at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Potential draw.
You think it's going to be a Desmond?
Score draw, I think.
Yeah. 2-2.
I'm going for Man United win 3-2. This is one of those games to me that's set up for Man United counter-attack. I think this is the kind of game where you're going to see the best of them because they only really thrive in games in which they have space, in the final third, and Man City will give them that space.
It's definitely going to be goals.
See, the problem I have is that's my prediction, and I agree, but I feel I need to revise it simply because Guffs has agreed with it.
I think there's definitely going to be goals. It's a hard one to say who's going to... you two just said United straight away. I played safe, if that is safe, by saying a draw. And the reason I said that is because I just think there's going to be goals for both teams. So that's why I went for draw. I wouldn't write off City, though. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't write them off. But I just think that United play a transition type of way, and so they're set up to play well against the bigger teams. And what we have seen with City already is that they struggle when people go direct against them. That said, I'm not sure that United are going to be able to stop Haaland in the box.
That's a Manchester derby.
Where are you both with Man City assets? Because Man City got some decent games still, right? And it's sort of 3 or 4 game weeks. Do you feel comfortable bringing anyone else other than Haaland into your team? Where's your mind at with that?
I already got him, and obviously I've got Reindeers as well, but he's just a 5.5 enabler, right? So if he gets me some points, whoop-de-doo. He probably changes to Elliott soon.
Do you look at them defensively and think about anyone defensively bringing your team, or you think they're just too open at the back?
Nah, can't bring anybody in from them, because the only person that you would, or I would personally bring in from their defence, and it's only because there's potential upside from an attacking point of view, would be Al Nori. And at the moment, they're very hit and miss.
Have they kept one clean?
And he doesn't even seem to be getting forward. Say that again?
Have they even had one clean sheet? See, I can't
Against
remember.
Wolves.
Yeah, against Wolves. I think they will have clean sheets if they blitz a team straight away. Then they'll see it through. I think the problem with them is they keep letting people back in at the moment. And like when you play a team like, for instance, the last week when they played Brighton are just one of those plucky teams. They're like Scrappy Doo. They don't stop, right? Just let me at them. And they keep on. With City at the moment, if you keep probing them, you'll get the better of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that it's gonna be an interesting game. I mean, I'm with you, Hotch. I think I can see goals in this game for sure. Both defenses are not particularly secure, and actually, I think both teams probably got a win. I mean,
are you doubting Maggie Cube? What do you mean the defense ain't secure?
I just, it's a big game. This is a big game.
Oh well,
Not that Pep's. I don't want to say Pep's role isn't under any jeopardy, right? But like,
Well, he is from you apparently.
what do you mean?
You said it is. You said it's the end of his cycle.
Yeah, but I think it's more a case of him maybe just stepping down and wanting to take a break. Like,
Seeing people give you a bit of heat online about it as well.
We shall see, innit? We shall see who's right and who's wrong. But certainly, there's the early evidence suggests that his impact and his ability to dominate is waning. And I think this will be a good gauge to sort of see where City are, because they've had 2 defeats in a row now. Can he stop the rot? I mean, last year was it like 10 games at 11 where they lost the game, which isn't a good look for Pep. I think the sign of good teams are the teams that they lose a game, they can respond back, right? So they've lost 2 in a bounce now. Can they come back and turn it around? We'll see.
This is why I think that it's not going to be that clear cut for United. City are at home. They need to end the bad run, and they're going to want to. And then with United, they're going to want to prove a point. So it's going to be a very good game on a Sunday. That's what I will say. People that are brave enough to go with Haaland captain, they could either be laughing at the end of that or, sad. So it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds.
So the early game, I think, is it Arsenal, the early game?
Yep. Surely you should know that as an Arsenal boy.
Where's your head out with that game? I mean, I think Hot's already spoke about he thinks Arsenal's going to win that game, but
well, this is
kind of went off last week about.
Went off about what?
Well, we kind of have our opinions on where Arsenal are right now in terms of how they approach the game against Liverpool. Do we think Eze will start this game, for example?
So I don't know what he's going to do. I put Eze in my team last week and he benched him. But, you could say that is because it was his first game. I don't see no reason why Eze should be on the bench again this week. And if he is, even if he doesn't stay on the bench, that's going to be a problem for me. I'll get rid of Eze. If he's on the bench again this week, he's out my team. I ain't playing these type of games. St. Pep's roulette. It's Eze. Do you know? But I think we win. I think we win. I don't care about Ange's appointment. I don't care that he was Spurs and it's going to be the Spurs Arsenal. I think it's a case of Arsenal dropped points and we need to go out there and get 3 points. And I think we will. I hope that we don't struggle against Forest because they've not been good this season. I started with 2 Forest defenders and I could see that, okay, last season defensively he was good, but you're looking off the ball now. So I got rid of one. And now I'm just like, I don't know if I want any Forest assets. So in this game, I hope that Arsenal can do what they need to do as an Arsenal fan so that I know I was right. But like I see an Arsenal victory. We're at home. We have to bounce back. Surely we don't drop points here. So yeah, I see an Arsenal victory. What about you, Guffs?
What about you? I think Arsenal will win. The biggest question I want answered from Arsenal is how we approach the game.
So how do you think we're going to?
I don't know. I really don't know. And we've got these new assets in our team now. Will Eze's introduction change the way in which we attack? I'm looking to see the impact of his, hopefully if he starts the game, has on the team. Will he play Marino again in the the 10 or the 8 or whatever Art likes to say?
Oh, you mean that DM that just scored a hat-trick?
Well, So
yeah,
I'm curious to sort of see how we approach the game because not to kind of like go on and on about it, but for too long now, for too long, Arsenal start games too slow, and I want us to sort of, I want Arsenal to start the games with more aggression going forward. So I'm more interested to sort of see the approach we take. But I think we'll win the game regardless. I think that we're better than Forest, and I think that our power and the different ways in which we can score goals will be the difference. But I think the margin of the victory will depend on how we approach the game. I think we're capable of winning this game easily, but that it really relies on Arteta's approach for me.
Garden Arc. What's your view?
I don't make predictions on Arsenal games. I was clear on that last week.
Yeah, but for those that don't know, haven't seen the last episode, like, why is that? Why don't you make prediction on Arsenal games for the viewers that might not have been watching?
I'm superstitious. I don't make predictions on Arsenal games. It's just like when they're playing, I don't comment in other groups other than Arsenal groups that I'm in. So in like regular football banter groups, etc., like I don't comment in them when Arsenal are playing. I like the 90 minutes to be played out, so I know where we are and so on. I think from my point of view, I wouldn't imagine that at home he won't start Eze. I think that's probably the way that Arteta's mind works. That was what he was waiting for, like to make him have that homecoming debut that, you know, he goes out there and does his thing or whatever not. But let's see. Like, I don't think Forest will be a simple task because they will play in that way that they're coming there to be stubborn, even with our friend G'day mate being there. That said, I think they've just had an injury as well, right? I don't know if their manager bounce is going to kick in yet, but let's see. Like, they've got an injury to Aina, I think, so they'll have to do some shuffling at the back. And
They'll
let's see
chuck
what
Nico Williams at right back, and they've signed back 2 left backs in that window that just closed. So I think that's what they'll figure it out. But yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, we can't let Edu get away with anything with us. So hopefully the boys turn up and they do what they need to do.
But an interesting question I want to ask you both really is captain choices, right? Like, where are you with that? Because there's probably like 3 or 4 guys, maybe 5, maybe, but I'll say 3 or 4 obvious choices this week. Where you haven't, one of the choices is Salah, right, which you haven't got in your team. So I'm interested to sort of see where you are, Ark, in terms of who's your...
Yeah, so from my perspective, I guess those 4 that you're talking about will be Salah, Mateta, Gyökeres and Haaland. I've got 2. I've got Haaland, I've got Gyökeres. With Gyökeres, I think that he probably will get a goal over the weekend. But the logical and the safe choice would be to go with Haaland. Because Haaland, we know that he's got elite ability as long as he gets the volume. And so far this season, he has that. He's taken the most shots in the box. He's had the most touches in the box of all the strikers and so on. And I don't imagine that he will play against United and not get an opportunity to score over the weekend. So I'm leaning towards him in terms of where I go captain choice-wise. But I can see the validity in the others that are there. Salah, it feels like he is due something. Mateta, obviously, he's playing Sunderland. But from my perspective, I've only got 2 of those. So I'll be weighing up between Haaland and Gyökeres. But the caveat is that I don't want to do what I did last week where like the heart rules my head and I just go with Arsenal for the sake of my love and bias towards them.
I've got Gyökeres and Salah. In your scenario, I'd think Haaland is in good form. He scored a couple, or more than a couple for his country in the international break. Gyökeres, like yourself, I think he'll get a goal, but I'm just not sure how that whole Nottingham Forest and Arsenal game will go. I think Arsenal will win, but not as bad as Verts, but I feel like Gyökeres hasn't settled yet. But there's more pressure on him.
I'd agree with that.
There's more pressure on him than there is on Verts for whatever reason, the media. But Salah is like he's due something, Doesn't mean he'll get it, but I think he's probably the likely captain for myself, if I'm being real. Yeah. As for Arteta, I think he scores against Sunderland. I know they've lost Eze and Sars out injured. I can't think who the midfielders that are going to come in for Palace will be, but I still think that Palace will have Sunderland's number. So, if you've got Mateta,
yeah, they should do.
Good captain's choice, in my opinion. Yeah, he's a good captain's choice, in my opinion. I think if Wester starts, he'll be a wildcard captain for this week for anyone that's got him.
Yeah.
I think out of the players I've got, it'll be out of Gyökeres and Salah. Gyökeres is at home. So,
What about for you, Guffs?
Yeah, I mean, on that list, the only player I've got in my team is Salah. So
that's your captain this week.
Salah. I mean, if we're going by the list, that's.
Or will you go for Verts?
Do you know what? I was thinking about Verts. Honestly. Like I'm contemplating going Verts, just because
what advice?
So many people have dumped him. No, as captain. So many people have dumped Verts that it could be one of the weeks where, it's that massive risk and reward thing, right? So if he licks off and only I and a few guys have him, then I could have a big jump in the league standings. And I do feel like he will score this game week. I've got this funny feeling that he's going to this will be the week in which he announces himself to the league.
I think so too.
The question is, in my mind,
have you got the minerals?
The question in my mind is, I can see Salah licking up as well. And Salah's on penalties. So will he get more points than Salah? I don't know. So it's between Verts and Salah in my team right now. And I'm debating to go brave or to go safe and go Salah. So those are my two choices. If I had all those 4 players in my team that were mentioned before, I would probably still go Salah, I think. I do think that he is due. And
so then there isn't a debate. You're going Salah, right?
Well, I'm saying if I had all those 4 players, if we're talking about those 4 players mentioned in the graphic, I would pick Salah out of those 4 players.
Right, and you've got 2 of them,
saying that,
including Salah.
No, I've got one of them. I haven't got Haaland, Gyökeres.
So none of you would think about going with Pedro as captain.
Not this week.
No, they're away to Brentford. It's a West London derby.
Okay.
I think Brentford will
just thinking about differentials.
Hold their own. It's not a bad shot, to be fair. He's in good form. Done very well so far. And he's going to play, right? Pretty much the whole game. So it's worth a shot. But I think that if we're honest about it, is he better asset than Haaland and Salah as captain? Probably not.
Well, not when you take into account expected ownership from a captain point of view, although he's the most owned in the game, right? He just won't be the most captain in the game.
Here's the thing, at this stage of the game, I don't want to be chasing already. Do you know what I mean? If this is game week 20 or something, and I was 100 points behind, then I think I'd be more inclined to play Verts as captain. But at this stage, I just want to make sure I don't lose more ground. So,
why would you play him as captain if he was chasing?
Because I think that as this sort of league gets into the second half and you want to try to kind of make ground up, you're more inclined to take risks. Well, I am anyway. That's how I play the game. I think earlier on, I kind of play a bit more safer. I don't want to kind of lose too much ground. I'm more inclined to take risks later on, but everyone plays differently, I guess.
To be fair, I thought you paid a robot to play for you last year. I'm not saying that you did. I've got no proof of this. Only the previous 8 years, but it's okay.
God knows who was playing for you last year, mate.
I was. It was sad times, and it's continuing. We'll see.
I mean, it could have been your wife playing. It was so bad, you know. Those things.
She won't like that when she hears this. You won't be invited round for dinner, Guffs.
But yeah, look. I mean, seriously talking. I mean, I think that I've got to stay safe, man. I can't fall behind. You know.
No, Guffs, you can't, because you've got 2 people that are going to jump on you from a high height if you do.
Well, yeah. I got to make sure that I'm repping. So, but look, what is interesting is obviously we're at that portion of the show now where we're gonna dive into your section, sir. Your
Statman series, indeed.
Yeah. What is it about this week? Can you give us a little insight?
Yeah. So Arsenal been getting a bit of heat recently about their lack of non-set piece or their lack of open goal XG, and I think that's kind of wrapped up in a bit of lore and people not really understanding like how we come about XG and how that actually affects the game and so on. So actually I've just put together a little breakdown to map it against some of the assertions that have been made and kind of to give more of an understanding of the impact that it also has on picking an Arsenal asset. Because we can't hide or run away from the fact that open play XG isn't as high as it is with others. But there are reasons for that, and I guess if you take a listen for the next 2 minutes, you'll get more of an understanding.
No days off, no days off, no days off.
Did you ever hear the story about Leon? I said Leon, they said Leon. He was from the flats that the Jack kids be on. Before the cats they had they cracked a fiend on. They say on the street he a fiend on. When he squeezed on, it's phenomenal. Make a change off a name like a hitman, and we'll hitman if it's reasonable. Then you'll have
Over the past couple of weeks, there's been plenty of noise around the Arsenal. Lose a single game, and suddenly the apologist cockroaches scatter whilst the mainstream media feeds. Case in point, Sky roll out a chart on low open play XG and cue the crash outs. They begin in earnest. But here's the cold truth. Many people watch football, but few really understand it. And that applies even more so to data. So let me explain. Every headline, every hot take frames it as a weakness, as if Arsenal can't create. But XG isn't a creativity stat. It's a shot quality stat. Put quite simply, if you don't shoot, you don't generate XG, no matter how much control you've had in possession. And the Arsenal model thrives on control before chaos. They suffocate space. They value a 0.35 XG shot for the right runner over 5 speculative punts worth 0.05. And the data back this up. Arsenal rank near the top for expected threat build-up and deep progression. They're in the final third, carving half spaces. Those actions just don't register on the XG ledger until someone pulls the trigger. And that's why the criticism is lazy. You're measuring patience with a metric designed to reward volume. It's like calling City toothless because Rodri hasn't been shooting from 30 yards every 5 minutes. So why does this matter to FPL managers like your good self? Long story short, you can't treat Arsenal assets like you would Haaland or Isak. Their returns come in bursts, clusters once the lock is picked, not a drip feed of shots. So patience, fixture context, and role clarity matter far more than raw XG. So let's be clear. This isn't inefficiency. It's intentional design. And with the new additions, players already among the elite for ball carries, final third touches and shot capacity, it suggests we're about to see a shift. Anyway, that's the reality behind the numbers. Statman out.
So on to our mini league. That'll be closing today. So last entries, got to get them in today. And after that, no more entries. And if you're in the league, make sure you subscribe, because if you haven't subscribed, you won't get paid. We've said it and we mean it. It's got a healthy number of teams in the league, so it's good. Let's look at the league table. It's interesting. Our leader, current champion running, gonna win. No chips this week. And like myself, got a low amount of points, but you're still top. That's the main thing. And the top three, Dro's 11, Melo Kart. Got the high scores of this week, Dawnbreaker and Go Power Reindeers. I like that name. They got 75 points, which is a good amount this week. So that's the two highest scoring players. Let's see the bottom of the league. 2 peak for you. It's a bit, Ben, I'm going to say it's 2 peak for you, my friend. Yeah, you're not that far off. 11 off from getting off that bottom, but yeah, it's not looking good. It's looking peak for you, funny enough. But yeah, 72 in the league. The top 3 getting those cash prizes once they've subbed. It's going to be interesting. Some good scores at the top half of the table at least. Some low scores at this bottom half. Panthers 21. I don't usually look at lowest points, but I don't think anyone's got lower than 21. That's pretty poor. And I've had a bad week, but it's still time. It's early, as some would say. But yeah, all jokes aside, it's going to be interesting because international break's coming to an end. The league closes, and if you're going to join and you haven't joined, this is your last day to do so. But yeah, guys, this league, it's interesting to see gonna win, not get those points this week. Gives everyone a chance to get closer towards him. I didn't take advantage of it this week myself. In fact, neither of us did. But guys like...
It's a marathon, not a sprint, as they say.
100%. Like I said it game weeks ago. I'm not concerned right now. All I can do is what I can do on my side. I have used one of my chips now, but I don't value the chips like other people do. The chips in the first half of the season are there to be used, whether it's by accident or not, Guffs. But yeah, it's early days, so you
just can't help yourself, can you? You just can't, you just can't help. It's just this little dig. You know what I mean? It's cool, man. It's cool. It's calm. It's calm. I will play the villain. It's cool. I'm happy to play that role if it has to be.
A villain doesn't wear those colour headphones.
And when next game week comes around and you get another 39 points and you're doing -8, but still sitting there saying that your wildcard is great, then we shall see.
That's cool.
But
we've all got
whatever.
We've all got one game week each now with the most points. Will be interesting to see out of the 3 of us who gets the highest points this week and who will be hosting next week, right? Who's going to have the minerals to go against the grain? Do you know what I mean? You said you're contemplating Salah and Wirtz. Me and Art said you're captaining Salah. You said you're not sure, but we think you're captaining Salah. If you actually captain Wirtz, it'll be a bold move, and if it comes off, respect to it. Unlike yourself, when you do certain moves,
don't give me that.
Let me finish my sentence.
No.
When you do certain moves, and it comes off, it's like not you, just anyone. You rate those type of moves when it happens, innit? Because if it happens, it happens. See, like we both, for instance, last week we both went to Captain Wood, right? Now Wood went out there and smashed it against West Ham, and got more points than Salah and Haaland, it's a good move. But it just didn't work. Sometimes that's the way it goes too. So when you take those risks and not go for the obvious captain choices, then it happens. But this week, I think everyone and most people will go for the safe bet in Salah or Haaland. So it'll be interesting to see how.
Nice try to bet.
I'm not trying to bet anything. I just think that it's common sense, and you said it yourself, and that you're going Salah. I think that it makes sense. You said you like to cover, remember? You said you like to cover. So either you was basically trying to make
bait me.
I'm not trying to bait you. Either you're saying you're going to stick to Salah because you don't want to lose ground, which was your words, or you was trying to put it out there and you think I'm going to go Verts really, and you was trying to be smart. But like either way, it'll be interesting to see.
All I know is this, okay? If I go Verts, I don't know yet, and he flops, there ain't gonna be no like, oh Lee, we respect the move anyway.
No,
so
correct. Because we'll be saying unlucky one G-Force. That's what we'll be saying.
Yeah, sure you will be. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have been known to go brave before. I mean, it's just, I just got to see how I feel in a day, But,
look, I'm captaining Salah. That's the way it looks to me, and I think he will too, just for the record. So, yeah. I'm just keeping it real, innit? That's what I do. I've got Salah captain for this game week. I can't see me not doing that. It doesn't really make sense not to. Gyökeres could even get a couple goals. He might score him, but I'm getting Salah. And I think you will too. All of this, we'll see. We'll see. You go Salah, personally. And probably Haaland. Just makes sense. But anyway, let's see who gets the most points. That's the most important thing. And who'll be hosting the next show. And if Guffs gets to 2, and if it's 2-1 to Guffs, will it mean that you go above me in the league? That's the next question. So then you really have something to talk about, and he won't.
It's a marathon, my friend. But lads, it's been emotional. But
all right, Vinnie Jones.
We'll go again, and we'll see who comes out on top for real. But okay, have a good week. Have a bad game week, and we'll talk again next week.
Like, subscribe, all of that.
Truth be told, when I